So thank you everyone for joining us today. This is our December MPO Technical Committee meeting. For roll call, I'm able to see who's on this webinar, and I will just go ahead and after take an attendee list from it. So I'm not going to worry about this, and I will just move on. So our agenda for today is first to introduce our new MPO director. Then we will have an update on the Waco Transit Fixed Route Realignment Study. We'll have a presentation from TxDOT on the travel survey that's currently going on in our Waco region. And then we will have our usual TxDOT construction updates, and then finally our director's report. So first, I would like to introduce you to Mukesh Kumar, who is our new MPO director. We're really glad to have him here. Mukesh is joining us from Jackson, Mississippi. Most recently, he was an associate professor of urban and regional planning at Jackson State. But in addition to his academic career, he has also spent a few years on the public side as the planning and development director for the city of Jackson. So Mukesh, if you want to take a minute to say hello.
Yes, thank you. I can't see any of you.
Here, I'll bring this up for a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, great. It's a privilege to be here, and I'm delighted and excited to be here in order to do some actual practical planning work, which I've always had a lot of interest in. I have done quite a bit of work across the country, working with different municipalities. But this will be the first time when I'm only going to focus my attention on transportation related and mobility matters for an urban area. And I know that I think there is a bumper sticker about, I saw somewhere that I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could. I can't exactly say that, but I'm here and I'm really excited to be here. One of the important things that I wanted to put on this committee's radar is that this is my fourth day today at work, and one of the things we have realized in preparation for this meeting is that this is a really powerful and very talented group of people we have on this technical committee, and I keep asking Chelsea and Annette how we could use each one of you a little more than what we do at this point in time. So what I would like to offer is also that while we are coming up with some ideas on how we could engage each one of you a little more in our activities, if you have any idea, please feel free to drop me a note or drop Chelsea or Annette a note, and we'll make sure that we have a little more engagement than what we have so far. Because I really, I think it would be a waste of resources if we only met once a month or so. I would really like to have a more open communication so that we can interact a little more and do work that fully reflects what you're thinking. So that, because I know that if we don't interact on a regular basis, out of sight and out of mind, that happens quite a bit. And then we only pay attention to the meeting agenda and such. And I would like us to be a little more engaged. So please keep that on your mind, and if you have any idea, please do share with us. Thank you, and I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm going to minimize this again briefly. Great, thank you. So again, yeah, feel free to reach out to any of us if you have comments or questions or some ideas, and then we will be in touch. Okay, so our first agenda item today is the Waco Public Transit Fixed Route Realignment Study update. So as a reminder, a little bit of background, in September 2018, we completed the Waco Rapid Transit Corridor Feasibility Study. And out of that feasibility study came two recommendations. The first recommendation is to establish a BRT, or the Bus Rapid Transit line, along the locally preferred alternative. So that's US 84 and Franklin Avenue corridor. And that would replace the current system that has a single point of transfer in downtown Waco at the transit center. There was also a second recommendation that would complement that first recommendation, which is to then realign the fixed route system that would operate on 20 to 30 minute headways or loops that would begin and end at one of those BRT stops on that spine of the locally preferred alternative, again, replacing the system that we have now. So it's a two-pronged recommendation approach. So the realignment study that we just kicked off is intended to accomplish that second recommendation from the feasibility study. You may recall that earlier this year, we did actually expand the scope of work for the study. So now we're looking at 3 different scenarios. The first scenario does assume that there is a BRT service using that LPA, that locally preferred alternative or alignment that was identified and recommended in the feasibility study. And that would be operating on 15-minute headways. So that's the first scenario. The second scenario is there is still some kind of limited stop fixed route service using that same corridor, but it would operate on 30-minute headways. So kind of like a BRT light type of system. And then there's a third scenario, which assumes that you don't have any sort of BRT or BRT light, or simply looking at the existing fixed route system and how can those be realigned and enhanced and optimized to improve the service here in Waco. So those are the 3 scenarios that are being studied. So Alliance Transportation Group, or ATG, was selected as a project consultant by the city of Waco in August, I believe. The entire study cost is $300,000. Waco Transit is contributing $150,000 of their FTA Section 5307 funds. The local non-federal match is $37,500 from the city of Waco. And the MPO is contributing $112,500 of our planning funds. The project kicked off in September, and it's now branded as Reimagine Waco Transit, which looks like this. So the next couple of slides, you're going to see the branding for this project, which I wanted you to be familiar with in case you are seeing this logo somewhere. So the project is the first time the transit system is being reimagined in its entirety in over 20 years. It is an equity-driven initiative, and there are 3 overarching goals for the project regardless of the scenario. So it's to improve connectivity, minimize travel time, and provide freedom through transit. The consultants are taking this approach first by evaluating existing conditions, having continuous public engagement or public involvement, developing those 3 scenarios we just discussed, and then coming up with an implementation plan. And I believe that part of that implementation plan will include some feasibility and cost estimates for electrification. So here's the project timeline. The green line at the top represents the different ways that the community will be continuously engaged in the process. The bluish gray line at the bottom is the technical transit analysis that will be happening concurrently by the consultants. So the star is where we are now. We're in the middle of the existing conditions and data gathering part of the process. And there's currently an active community survey available, which I'll talk a little bit about on the next couple of slides. Then we'll go into those scenario developments and then implementation. And again, community input and feedback on the draft plan that has incorporated their comments throughout the process. So we expect that the draft plan will be ready for review in June of next year. So this is a QR code and the link is below. There is a current public survey that's available online. It's going to be up through January 1st of next year. There's already been really great responses. I think there have been 200 responses so far, which is great for the community of our size, but really hoping to get as much comments as we can. So feel free to share this link with others. And then I believe, so once the survey comes down, the link will still be active and the QR code will still be active. And it's just going to function as like a general comment box so people can continue to leave comments or ask questions about the project. So that's the last slide for that. And does anyone have any questions on this transit study? Okay, moving on. So next we're going to talk about and get an update on our Waco area travel surveys. So TxDOT is continuing to conduct travel surveys in our region. They started last year, and the purpose of these surveys is to understand travel destinations and trip frequencies for our businesses and households in our region. And as a reminder, these surveys are really important for us at the MPO. It happens about every 10 years or so, and we use this information to help model our future travel demand, which we then use to help prioritize our projects in our long-range transportation planning process. So our MTP, Metropolitan Transportation Plan. So it's very useful information for us that we rely on. There are 3 types of surveys: household, establishment, and commercial vehicles. And here to tell us more about these surveys is Sonia Solinsky. She is a travel survey program manager with the TxDOT Transportation Planning and Programming Division. And Sonia, I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing, and then you should be able to grab it.
Yes. Let me see. I'm trying to get this so I can share the screen. And I guess we need sound. Okay, thank you. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Too many buttons here. So, good afternoon. Sonia, my name is Sonia Solinsky, and I'm the TxDOT Travel Survey Program Manager. And sorry, my thing didn't come up correctly. And welcome to the new director. This is our second presentation that we've done for the MPO. We did one 2 weeks ago, and we're very happy to be here again to let you know about what we're doing at this time in the Waco region. Basically, we do surveys all over Texas, and as you can see, this is just many of the different MPO regions that we're doing. As Chelsea mentioned, we do it on a cycle of 10 years. And so this is our new landing page that gives a really good map. And then also, I'm gonna have to move this over here. In our landing page, we also have a new video, which I welcome you to check out and see about why people take these surveys and the importance of helping out for learning about what's the value in them taking the survey. So please go to the landing page, which I've put the link here, and you can go to. In this landing page, we also provide the opportunity for respondents to connect to the actual survey. So they click on a link, and then the link takes them to the vendor's website, where then they can take the current survey that's going on in the area. In addition, we also have current reports. So the previous study we did for Waco is also on this landing page. So if I think I can do this. Okay, so if you can see, this is our video.
Whether you're always on the move.
And then I was going to go to the actual landing page. So here's the landing page. And then as you can see, you go down and you can select the area, and there's Waco. And then, as I mentioned, all the past survey information. So if we go into the Waco region, you can see these are the past surveys: external, workplace, commercial vehicle, and household. So that gives you an idea. And then we have the contact information. To give you more of an idea of, sorry, just not today technical. This is the area that we will be doing, that we are doing in regards to the survey for Waco and the entry and exit points, which is important to give you an idea for our external studies as well. So this is a survey area. As Chelsea mentioned, there are 3 different types of surveys, and we're doing all 3. The household is people are getting a mailing to their homes, and we do all the people in the region, and we ask them to participate. At establishments, we go to an office or a supermarket, and we ask them to provide information of the travel that was done to that workplace. And also in those locations, we try to gauge how many commercial vehicles are going in and out of an area. And then finally, we have an external study, which is now done with passive data. So those entry and exit points, we capture that information through passive data, which I will specify each of these 3 different surveys a little bit further on separate slides. So going into household surveys, again, as I mentioned, it's a postcard. There's 1,500 households that are going to be surveyed. And those residents, if they meet the criteria, because the criteria is going to be based on the number of people in the household, their income, etc., they're given a 24-hour period of time to travel on a weekday. And they collected data will be done via their phone, as you can see in this picture, people using their phone, use an app. And that app, as you can see also in this image, provides the information of exactly where they went. And they have the opportunity to make modifications if, for example, the app didn't capture where they went correctly. So we get the best data through the apps. If they cannot use the app, they also can use a web travel log, and that requires them to write down how they were able to go in on their travel date, where they went. As a result of this, we have our model inputs, which are trip production rates, trip lengths, and the estimate of residents' travel, which is very important. Regarding the establishment survey, as I mentioned, they were previously divided into two, but workplace survey is regarding these different types of basic retail, service, and education. We're looking at 300 different workplace locations that we're surveying in Waco, and 7 special generators. And we're working on having those special generators beginning sometime in January. So we're really excited about that. The survey is also going to be looking at visitors, not just employees, but also visitors going in and out of the workplace. And here are the model inputs. And as you can see, we have different ways of interaction, current COVID, ops, and also just regular interactions. Here's an example of our commercial vehicle app that we have for the, as you can see, this is done by, for the Waco and Keeling Temple area. The way this works is they have a one-day trip, again, through an app. And these are the different types of commercial vehicles. We try to categorize either a service vehicle like FedEx or a plumber truck, and then cargo evident. You can see this is a cargo vehicle right here. And then we have the different model inputs. And this on the right is an example of how that app works. So again, we're getting really good data using these apps. Here's probably the most important slide, so wake up. This is regarding where we are now with our surveys. All of our surveys are being conducted by our vendor that we subcontracted out is ETC Institute, and there's their logo. So if you hear that name, understand it's a legitimate survey. Anyone asks you, they are doing a survey for us. We've contracted them to do all of the 3 different types. Regarding the household and commercials, we started those surveys in July, August 2020. Unfortunately, COVID happened. Everything was placed on hold. So then we came back in the spring of this year, 2021, and we're going through spring of 2022 to gather all the information, especially the households take a little bit longer, and they are at 50% complete. In order to reach more people, not just through the mailings, but also remind them, connect with them, we're starting with a new outreach, which is through both the vendor and TxDOT's district Facebook and Twitter platforms. And this gives us an opportunity to continue to legitimize and also give them the confidence that this is a realistic survey and the importance of them participating in these surveys. At the end of my presentation, Chelsea will help me with showing a TV commercial that we have that will go out probably next week by the vendor, again, giving information about the surveys going on in Waco area. And this is the local television channel that will be broadcasting it. Again, this is important for outreach to continue to remind people to take the survey. With workplace surveys, again, due to COVID, we had to put things on hold. So we didn't even start the pilots until June of 2021. And then the main surveys will be wrapping up the end of this month. So we're almost complete in regards to workplace. And the special generators, as I mentioned before, they will be going on in January. We're working on getting site plans and those sort of things set up. External study is already done, and it is for your availability to go onto the landing page, which I showed you before, and you can click on that and get that information. It was done in 2018 by TTI, the Texas Transportation Institute. What is an external travel study? Basically, it's looking at going into an area, out of the area, and through. And we're using LBS and GPS data captures so that we really are able to have great performance and getting great data. And these inputs that we receive are going to be for the model and providing local and through trips and non-commercial and commercial trips and non-resident travel estimates. Regarding the final reports that we get out of all of these surveys, we will get summary reports. As you can see, here was the one from 2010 that is prepared by TTI. We also get memos that go on to the modelers. And the most important thing is we get the survey data for the model that you'll be interested in for the MPO. This is our group. We're under a new branding. It's called the Texas Travel Survey. As I mentioned, our landing page is this right here, link, and basically it's two groups. It's TxDOT and then our consultant, TTI. And I have Ed Hard on the call here to answer your questions. But before we do, Chelsea's going to take over and show you the video that's going to go out by the local television station in Waco. You can go ahead, Chelsea.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Share screen. This.
Ever wonder what data transportation planners use to make budget decisions or plan road improvements? One source of information is called a household travel survey. And right now, these surveys are being conducted in the Waco, Killeen, and Temple areas. Households that qualify and complete the survey will be improving the roads they travel on every day and will receive a basic gift card for participating. Regardless of how you travel or how much you travel, your participation will make a difference. Learn more or sign up today at AmericanTravelSurvey.com.
Great. Any questions for Sonia or for TTI on these travel surveys? Any questions from in the room? Okay, well, thank you so much for your presentation again. We really appreciate it and looking forward to seeing those results next year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting. Bye.
Okay. Oops, not that. Okay, next we have our TxDOT Waco area project updates from Clayton. I'll just go ahead and do these for you.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, we'll start with our Waco Drive ADA and signal upgrade project. Contractor started work a few months back. They've primarily been focusing on the north end of the job from the Brazos River up to the interstate, installing new signal foundations and conduit, and have started some sidewalk work north of the Brazos River. Again, we're still on track for a completion date of end of 2022. Out on FM 185 in the Crawford area, we've started a rehab and widening project there and some safety upgrades. Big Creek's been out there installing new drainage structures across that roadway, new driveway pipes. This paving operation is actually going to be delayed a couple weeks while we work through some material issues, but they'll come in and do a mill and inlay paving operation in town towards Crawford, and then start on the widening operation shortly after that. But again, still targeting a completion of next summer. Our State Highway 31 overpass project, which is to construct an overpass at the FM 939 intersection, along with some improvements along FM 939 to the south. Weber, who's actually constructing our interstate project, won that bid. They started work in October. They've primarily been working on some drainage work and bringing in embankment material for the new bridge headers. That job is expected to last into summer of 2023. All right, next slide. Our State Highway 6 mall-to-mall project. This one went out for bids in August. Weber was selected the low bidder. They've actually been out there starting some work at the Bagby U-turn bridges. And that will be the only work that takes place between now and the end of January. Official time charges kick off January 27th. Whenever they come in, they plan to start working on the new frontage road overpasses at the Beverly Railroad crossing. That will impact the U-turns at that railroad crossing being closed. Exchange Parkway will have a short closure, and Industrial Drive will be closed as well for an extended period of time while that work is ongoing. Right now, our anticipated completion date for that project is end of 2023, so we're looking right at 2 years of construction. And then moving on to the interstate, through the October estimate, we're right at $310 million of the original $341 million has been constructed. We're still right on track for a substantial completion date of the end of 2022. And then if you want to move into the drone photos, Chelsea. So this is the south end of the project. You can see a lot of the pavement's been completed actually since this picture was taken. The on-ramp there directly in front of Fuego, Schlotsky's, that area has been relocated to allow for the permanent pavement to be tied into the existing pavement at the south end of the project. You can go to the next slide. This is moving to the north at the 11th, 12th Street overpass. You can see both new overpass structures have been completed. Since this photo was taken, drainage has been installed for the new intersection. And actually on the west side of the intersection, we've got subgrade ready to go, treated subgrade, and we plan to have asphalt bond breaker down by the end of the calendar year. So moving into the spring, you'll really see this intersection start to take shape. Looking to the north at 4th and 5th Street, again, a lot of progress since these pictures were taken in October. That particular bridge structure has actually been, the bridge deck has been placed. Weber has started working on the 5th Street, new alignment of 5th Street underneath the bridge. And then on the east side of the intersection, they're working on the new alignment of 4th Street and Dutton. They've also been working on the north to south U-turn. Half of that U-turn has been poured. They look to place the other half. I believe it's either over the weekend or early next week, and get that U-turn actually opened up to traffic next week sometime. When that U-turn opens, we'll actually close 4th Street directly under the interstate until about mid to late January to reconstruct 4th Street. So again, by the early part of next year, you'll really see 4th, 5th Street start to align. Moving to the north, this is the University Park structure. We actually have plans to place that bridge deck this Friday night. Weber has started some of the intersection work underneath the bridge, and that will continue through this year into the early part of next year as well. The Brazos River, again, these photos were taken in October, so a lot of progress has been made since that time, but all of the columns in the river have been completed, the caps, and actually steel beam structures have been set over the last couple of weeks. We've got some remaining drop-in sections to complete in the middle, and that should happen, if not Saturday, the early part of next week. MLK, since this picture was taken, all bridge beams have been placed. Weber is working on some of the concrete panels and other deck work. Should have this one placed prior to the Christmas holiday or the first part of next year. Moving to the north, this is the new railroad overpass. Again, since this photo was taken, all of the substructure has been completed. Beams were actually set just prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, and the deck will be placed again, if not the end of this year, the first part of 2022. Business 77 overpass. Again, Weber has started a lot of the retaining wall work in this area. Beams will be a little bit further out on this particular structure compared to the others. They'll likely get set the first part of next year, and that deck will get placed the early part of 2022. You will see a lot of the intersection on the west side of the interstate start to get worked on here in the next few weeks. There'll be some drainage work, and then you'll see roadway work right behind it. And again, by next spring, this intersection will be a little closer to final configuration. US 84, steel beams are in place, starting some deck work there. Anticipate having the concrete placed on that bridge deck prior to Christmas, but it is possible that's early 2022 as well. Weber has placed asphalt bond breaker for the westbound lanes of 84 on either side of the intersection. And as soon as some of the main lane paving operations wrap up, that's an area that we'll likely see concrete right around the Christmas holiday. Then moving to the north, up at the Barron Street overpass, this bridge has been completed, and what you see, the black in this photo has actually been, there's actually been concrete pavement placed there since this photo was taken, and the north end is really starting to near its final stages. And then the very north end of the project, we recently realigned that exit ramp to North Loop 340, moved it slightly to the north on permanent pavement, and that'll allow Weber to fill that gap where the existing ramp was. So again, this is another area that's really nearing its final stages of work. And with that, I'll open it up. Any questions on I-35, Mall to Mall, or any other projects? All right, appreciate it.
Great, thank you, Clayton. Okay, next. My last director's report. Okay, so our next meeting will still be hybrid format for now. It's going to be on the 13th of January, which is 1 week later than usual because of holiday and some staff vacations. On the agenda so far, we're going to have action, no, not action yet, but we're going to update you on the safety performance targets and the 2 different transit performance targets that we have to look at annually. We'll also have our TxDOT construction update and probably some other items as well. But as always, if you have anything you'd like to discuss or that you'd like to put on the agenda, please let us know and we will be happy to do that. And that's all we have for today. So thank you, everyone. I want to see your faces. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy holiday, and we will see you in the new year.